guys! Today I will be presenting Guernica by Pablo Picasso, so enjoy. Oh, hello there. Welcome to Art History 101. Today we will be focusing on this painting right here. Guernica was painted by Pablo Picasso in 1937 and remained as one of his best-known works. Well, at first glance, you would think, what the heck is this? It looks like a bunch of mushed up shapes painted by some 4-year-old, right? Well, this was how people first perceived the painting when Guernica was first revealed. But the painting has a greater depth and meaning to it and would later serve as modern art's most powerful anti-war statement. Guernica was painted in 1937 when Picasso was asked by the newly elected Spanish Republican government to paint an artwork for the Spanish pavilion at the 1937 Paris World's Fair. During this time, Spain was going through a long period of decline and was facing socio-economic problems as well as a weakened government. This led to a 3-year-long civil war conflict between the leftist Republicans who were in government at the time and the nationalists who were led by General Francisco Franco. The conflict is more widely known as the Spanish Civil War. The village of Guernica was later the target of a terror bombing exercised by the German Luftwaffe, destroying most of the city and inflicting devastation towards civilians and their communities. This later on prompted Picasso to paint Guernica. Let's talk about Picasso. Picasso was born on October 25, 1881 in Magla, Spain. Picasso was a child prodigy who was recognized as such by his art teacher father. However, Picasso was a rebel from the start, and as a teenager began to frequent at a Barcelona cafe called El Quatre Gats, where intellectuals gathered. He soon went to Paris and was inspired by the works of Edouard Manet, Gustave Courbet, and Henri de Toulouse-Lautrec, whose sketchy style impressed him greatly. Picasso went through a prodigious number of styles, such as the Blue Period, the Rose Period, the African Influence Period, Analytic Cubism, and Synthetic Cubism. During the Blue Period, it is characterized by a predominantly blue palette. The most poignant works of the style were La Vie, Blue Nude, and the Haute Guitarist. By 1905, Picasso had largely overcome the depression that had previously debilitated him. This led to the introduction of warmer colors, including beiges, pinks, and reds, in what is known as his Rose Period. Known works during this period were a family of Saltimbanques, Gertrude Stein, and Two Nude. During the African Influence period, Picasso became an avid collector of African art, masks, and sculptures, and produced a painting that today is considered the predecessor and inspiration of Cubism, Les Demoiselles d'Avignon, or known as the Young Ladies of Avignon. Picasso later went on to improve his Cubism techniques, leading to the Analytic Cubism and Synthetic Cubism periods. While classical and neoclassical artists might replicate the world exactly as it appears in real life, Cubists like Picasso were open to depicting the world in more abstract ways that offered new, impossible visions of reality. This can be seen in his painting Guernica. Picasso uses surrealism, analytic cubism, and synthetic cubism, which can all be seen in Guernica. Picasso utilized surrealism to display the images overlapping and intersecting, obscuring forms and making it hard to distinguish their boundaries, and bodies that are disordered and semi-abstracted. He uses analytic cubism to analyze the natural forms and reduce the forms into basic geometric parts on the two-dimensional picture plane. Color was almost non-existent except for the use of monochromatic scheme in which Picasso uses gray, black, and white oil paints. He also uses synthetic cubism to reintroduce depth, and most importantly, Picasso added newsprint text to the painting, which brings an ultimate sense of reality into the painting. The painting measures to about 3.5 meters or 11 feet tall and 7.8 meters or 25.6 feet wide. Guernica offers a visual presentation of the chaotic and devastation that was inflicted on the men and women by the bombings, in this case especially civilian life and communities. On the left side of the painting sits a woman clutching a dead child, her head facing the sky in an anguished cry, her eyes in the shape of tears. This image was meant to resemble the classic Catholic image of the Virgin and Child. Also to the left side of the painting we see a bull, depicted with a dark body and white head. The expression it wears is one of shock, most likely caused by the horrors that surround him. Picasso himself had said that the animal was placed there to further signify brutality and darkness. Working on our way down, we see a dead soldier on the ground. The soldier, however, does not have a complete body, but rather a series of disjointed parts strewn across the floor. We can see his head and both arms. In one arm he carries a broken sword and in the other he carries a flower. Situated in the center of the painting we find a horse, appearing as though it is about to collapse and is in some way wounded. We can only make out the horse's head with its mouth open as it gazes out of the horrors of war. The rest of the body is overlapped by other images, which in turn form more images such as a human skull, and such is an example of surrealism. Down onto the bottom right corner, we see a woman with an injured leg. She's bleeding from the knee and is trying to stop the bleeding with her hands. Above her, we see a man pleading at the sky, perhaps to God, perhaps to the German planes to stop the destruction. As he does so, the building continues to burn and crumble around him. We come to a woman with her head out of the window with an oil lamp. Her face appears to be one of shock and bewilderment. She has been considered to be the ghostly representation of the Spanish Republic. Above it all, there is a light bulb. The symbolism behind it is widely debated. First, it is intentionally shaped like an eye, and its positioning at the top of the painting leads many to believe that it's God's eye, as he overlooks the madness and destruction caused by war. It is also believed to be a symbol of technological advancement, as it is placed immediately next to an oil lamp. Finally, it could have been symbolized the bombs that had been dropped above the city. Within Guernica, there are three small elements hidden underneath all the commotion. The first is the flower in a dead soldier's hand. This simple flower seems to be a white poppy, which sends a clear message of peace to come. The second is a small bird between the bull and the horse. It is not a very clear symbol, as it appears to be just a flash of white. Though in the Catholic Church the Holy Spirit is often represented as a white dove, this leads many to believe that the bird may be a symbol for the Holy Spirit, beginning to break past the darkness of the events around it to once again usher in peace for the near future. Finally, we have the oil lamp. This small flame is strong enough to shed light upon the entire scene, and if it is in the fact the spirit of the Spanish Republic that wields it, then it is a source of hope for those in the scene itself. The chaos caused by Europe's political instability is evident in Guernica's composition, with humans and animals jumbled together into a background of broken, hard-edged geometric shapes. Picasso's Guernica is mostly likely influenced by another Spanish artist, Francisco de Goya, who often painted not only war paintings but also bullfighting art. Overall, Picasso has had enormous influence on 20th century art and worked in an unprecedented variety of styles. After Cubism, his major contribution to modern art is the freedom which characterizes every aspect of his paintings, sculpture, ceramics, and graphic work. Artists such as David Hockney, Ben Nicholson, and Roy Lichtenstein, just to name a few, were strongly influenced by Picasso and incorporated his works into their own. The mural now resides here in the Museo Nacional Centre de Arte Reina Sofia in Madrid, Spain, where it continues to serve as an inspiration of Picasso's art and will continue to be, as it strives to capture Picasso's versatility and movement through art and life, embraces creative lawlessness, and redefine art in their own right. And this concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.